There's quite a lot of negative headlines in the United States. Unfortunately, the media seem to have a vested interest quite often. But these headlines actually aren't revealing the true picture. They're not really revealing what Americans actually think and what they actually want. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Americans still want EVs, says a recent study done only weeks ago. Despite massive uncertainty and confusion over tariffs on auto imports and parts, and a new House Republican bill trying to eliminate federal EV tax credits, the truth is Americans are continuing to show that they want to buy electric cars. You would think for all the negative headlines in the United States that EV sales have gone down this year, Honda cancelling their entire $13 billion investment in EVs, you'd think that EV sales were actually headed down, but they're not. They're actually up just over 5%. Demand has held steady compared to the same period last year, according to consumer insights and research firm J.D. Power. EVs are actually making an enormous disruptive change in the United States. And uptake has surged significantly in places like California and Democratic-leaning states, particularly among younger buyers, where people aren't as brainwashed about, certain brands and that kind of thing. As EV sales hit record highs, in the first quarter of 2024, they've done the same thing in the first quarter of 2025. According to J.D. Power, 24% of vehicle buyers said they are very likely to buy an EV this year, and 35% say somewhat likely. That's about 60% of buyers strongly considering an electric car. These metrics are pretty similar to 1 year ago. So, if 60% of buyers have EVs on their mind, why are EVs converting at a lower rate than that? Well, here's the thing. It's kind of dark, it's sad, and it's disappointing, but I've heard many stories that the truth is dealerships and dealership staff are trying not to sell them. They want you to buy something else because they make more profits on non-electric cars, and because they don't understand them either. It's a new concept. It's a new thing. So that's unfortunately discouraging a lot of these buyers. These huge percentages of people saying they want to buy one. They're going to a dealership and they're kind of being led to buy something else. Remember though, internal combustion cars need parts replaced all the time. They need regular services, oil changes, oil filters, all this stuff, new spark plugs, the list goes on and on and on. Electric cars accounted for around 7.5% of total vehicle sales in the US in the first quarter, which is up from 7%. So it doesn't sound that good, especially when you look at China, where they're at 52%. But, it's not too bad. Now, of course, if we're looking at Norway at 97%, it's shocking, but at least it's headed in the right direction. The EV market is showing surprising resilience, even though the truth is, if the Republicans get their way, they could end EV incentives, which will obviously have a big effect. Some of the cars that are selling really quite well are the Chevy Equinox EV and the Honda Prologue. Cars not doing as well lately, the Ford Mustang Mach-E, but the Hyundai Ioniq 5 is definitely having a bit of a sales resurgence. Now, one thing to keep in mind is, even though it's true that there's some negative Tesla sentiment from some people in the United States, and that's led them to not buy a Tesla. There's still a lot of Tesla fans in the US, huge number of them. And I think a lot of them have been waiting for the new Tesla Model Y. So I think that we're going to see an increase in EV sales purely because of the fact that the new Model Y has deliveries have just begun for that car across America. It's also a really good vehicle. And I think when people get it, they're going to think, well, yeah, this is a good car, and recommend it to others as well. There's some pretty big discounts too to consider. I mean, Polestar, phenomenal discounts. You've also got discounts from companies like Kia and Hyundai. Many car manufacturers are offering some good discounts on electric cars. As more EV options come to market, this should serve as an encouraging sign for automakers because it's an opportunity for them to gain a foothold and pull shoppers from outside their brands, said Brent Gruber, Executive Director of J.D. Power. EV shoppers consider products from mass market and premium brands alike, highlighting the opportunity to capture consumer interest with brands or products that shoppers may not have otherwise considered, he said. So there are a couple of problems in the EV sector, and these are things that if those problems are fixed, or at least the perception of these problems are fixed, it'll help sales significantly. Availability of EV charging stations remains the top concern for EV buyers. That's where the market is losing more than half of its potential buyers, which is 52%. Affordability is also a concern. Here's the thing. Affordability it's sort of crazy because the United States is only 7.5% of their cars being sold are electric. The cars are more expensive to manufacture, but recent studies show that electric cars are actually cheaper now in China. On around 65% of all cars sold, the EV version is cheaper. 65%. That's what will happen in the US when numbers start to kick up significantly. For example, if more than 50% of all cars sold in the United States were electric, the cost to produce them would be massively lower, and buyers would start buying more of them, and then we'd see a virtuous cycle. More and more cars are made, the cheaper they are to actually produce. We can see that with companies like XPeng. XPeng just delivered their first quarter 2025 results, and their vehicle profits have skyrocketed to 15.5%, simply for the fact that they're making so many more cars. Guys, how do you feel about this? Where do you see these trends going in the US? Do you feel like it's going in the right direction? How do you see things playing out this year? Let us know in the comments. Bye-bye. Australians are pretty outraged by what's been happening. It's not just America, guys. It's all over the world. People are intentionally targeting Tesla vehicles. I mean, in Germany, burning them down. It's true. 12 Tesla vehicles in Germany have been incinerated by arsonists or anti-Tesla, anti-EV haters. But it's much more common that people do this to Tesla vehicles. And, well, fortunately, they often get caught. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. It's great to see you guys. I really hate this kind of stuff. Honestly, if I caught someone doing it, this has happened to me, by the way. Someone has done this to my car. If I caught them doing it, I would, I mean, unless they were a lot bigger than me, even then, knowing the way I am, I can be a bit hot-headed. I would try to knock them out. I mean, seriously, if someone did this to my car for no reason, I mean, if I'd done something to them, okay, but if for no reason, and this is what's happening, people are targeting Teslas for really no reason. Doing this to people is it's so sick. It's like doing this to someone, you want to get to someone, and you do it in a real sneaky way, right? A Tesla driver has, been left shocked after a vandal bent one of her side mirrors and destroyed her VIN number plate, and apparently also scratched the side of her car.